So, speaking of sideshows, I want to move on to Manny coming back. Is this a sideshow or is this real?
Yeah, it is in
I,
some ways. But the welterweight division is weak. I think the welterweight division is the weakest it's ever been. I think,
it
it's
is.
I mean, at least in my life, it's very bad. It's really poor. And so there is an opportunity to step in. I think if the welterweight division was more competitive, I think Manny wouldn't come back. I think he's picking a moment where he sees an opportunity. Mario Barrios not only continues to not impress, he looks like he's getting worse, and he wasn't that good to begin with. Um, it just, in a weak welterweight division, a guy like that has picked up a title. So I think Manny sees an opportunity to step in and sort of, create a historic moment for himself.
How would a 35-year-old Paulie, I mean, no, there's a big age difference between a 45-year-old Manny or 44-year-old Manny and 35-year-old Paulie, but would you consider stepping back in for a guy like Barrios after your prime?
I think anybody was stepping against Barrios. Anybody has a
Okay.
legitimate chance of beating Barrios. I think Barrios sucks. I am I am in shock to see that guy as a world champion. It really shocks me.
At, with
But
the
nonetheless,
WBC.
nonetheless, Manny did look really bad in the exhibition with the Korean guy. So we don't really know what Manny has left, even at his age. No matter what, no matter how bad Barrios is, there's a possibility that Manny's that shot. The curiosity about the fight is not really, can Manny make history? Because it really beating Mario Barrios doesn't really mean anything anyway, right? It's not like Ray Leonard coming back and beating Hagler. The shame of the curiosity of this fight is who's going to show up worse, Barrios, who sucks and he's getting worse every single fight, or Manny, who's 46 and already is probably not for his best health to be fighting, but didn't look so great in the exhibition he did recently. And at 46, well, what can he really take? So
46.
that's the shame of this fight is you're gonna watch because you're curious, but the reason you're curious is just to see who's worse, which is not really a good reason to watch.
Have you've been criticized for criticizing Manny's alleged PD usage. Do you still hold those feelings?
Absolutely. I mean, I just point the cats out of the bag. Most people in boxing think that, and most people always thought that, but I see more people are being vocal about it now. I noticed Terrence Crawford in a recent interview also was talking about it. So I don't think it was ever a secret. I know the mutts at home, who didn't see like everybody in the inner circles of boxing speak to one another. Like I was in the inner circles. Everybody and their mothers knew Manny was juicing. He just wasn't popping. But then publicly, everybody wanted to protect it because he was a cash cow for so many people and so on and so forth. But I think now that the cash cow's sort of gone, people are more willing to sort of speak on what was obvious and what they kind of know. So you're starting to hear it more and more. But regardless, I mean, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth of sport. Regardless, that everybody kind of knew and nobody did anything about it. And nobody tried to enforce more drug testing, seeing that this was happening and seeing that the guy was sort of establishing an all-time great resume, knowing that he was doing this to a high level. So it was whatever. I mean, at that point, it was like, you just get turned off. You don't want to argue it because you don't want to deal with people's backlash because, a lot of groupies get offended and most people are groupies. So it was like, you just stop talking about it, but I think at 46, if he's going to come back and he's going to take on Barrios, I think I'm not sure he can do that cleanly. I mean, at 46 is tough, bro. 46 is difficult, especially when you've taken the damage he's taken. He's been a high impact fighter, a high octane impact fighter, So that kind of style also slows you down later on.
The WBC has Manny at 5 right now. How
Yeah,
did he get that? That's just my
yeah,
question.
that's technically not allowed, but again, that's one of those things where boxing just does whatever it wants whenever it wants. Technically, it's not allowed. Technically, you're not supposed to fight for a title coming off a loss. That gets broken commonly. You're not supposed to fight for the title off of a big retirement and not being in the rankings. That gets broken. I mean, they did that for Ray Leonard against Hagler too, right? He just showed up and fought for the title. So I mean, boxing just does whatever it wants whenever it wants. So I don't even think that's worth having a conversation. Because it's not the first time we see it, and if there's enough money on the table, it won't be the last time we see it either.
Okay. Well, do you have any final thoughts on the Mario Barrios fight
Me?
versus Manny?
No, no, I think either guy could win. Honestly, like I said,
You don't have a prediction? Just either?
not really, bro. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me to see Manny winning. I think Mario Barrios sucks. I am appalled that that guy's a world champion. Every time I see him fight, I'm like, this guy's bad. Man, is he bad? But you know,
147's ugly right now.
oof, bad.
Conor
But
Bennett 3, by the way, on the WBC rankings.
yeah. I mean, Ben is a name. You know, he's been working whatever, and he lost a fight, but that was outside the weight class. You know, whatever. He's there. He's not. I mean, he's a product of the welterweight division. It's not that good, and he's not that good. But nonetheless, at least he's a big name. Um, Pacquiao, you know, could win. It wouldn't shock me. Also, wouldn't shock me to see him lose. I mean, again, he looked terrible in the exhibition with the kickboxer. So see what he's got left at 46 years old. But I don't know. I highly doubt. My opinion of it is I highly doubt he's going to show up not juicing. There's no way at 46 years old, having taken the damage he's taken, they can show up clean to this fight.
You would know.
Yeah.
At your age, yeah.
No, that I think most people that would use their common sense, looking at a career that's been that long and has been high impact too. He wasn't exactly a defensive specialist, taking a lot of punches. Takes a toll on you, usually shortens your career.